All right, welcome everyone to this deep dive presented by Safety One Source. We're tackling a pretty fundamental piece of workplace safety today. It's all about the right of entry for safety inspections.
Yeah.
And, we're going to be digging into some legal text here. This text really lays out, who can come onto a work site and for what reasons when it comes to safety.
Absolutely.
So our mission in this deep dive is to break this down, to make these regulations really understandable for everyone involved in workplace safety.
Right, because this stuff can be dense.
Yeah.
But it's so important for anyone in the field,
Absolutely.
To know their rights and responsibilities when it comes to inspections.
Okay, so let's jump right in. We're looking at section 1926.3a to start.
Okay.
Now, this section sets up a really key condition for contracts, specifically ones that fall under the Contract Work Hours and Safety Standards Act.
Right.
It basically says that the Secretary of Labor or anyone authorized by them has the right to enter any site where this contract work is happening.
It's like a built-in term for these specific federal contracts.
Yeah.
And, what's important here is the why.
Exactly. The regulation lists two main reasons for entry.
Okay.
The first, to inspect or investigate, to see if a site is actually complying with the safety and health standards laid out in Subpart C and the following subparts of these regs.
Right. Subpart C, that covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, it's broad. We're talking hazard communication, specific industry standards. It's a lot.
It makes sense, though. These inspections need to make sure people are following established safety protocols.
Absolutely. Now, the second reason for entry under 1926.3a is a little more general.
Okay.
It's about the secretary fulfilling their duties,
I see.
as described in Section 107B of the Act. So this could mean all sorts of things, but basically ensuring workplace safety overall.
Makes sense.
Gathering information, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to Section 1926.3b. This one's all about how the secretary can actually go about these investigations. And this is where it gets interesting, because a wider net can be cast, so to speak.
Oh, how so?
Well, the regulation says the secretary can make agreements. They can utilize services, personnel, even facilities from any state or federal agency.
So it's not just federal inspectors, potentially.
Exactly.
You could have state agencies involved, too.
Right. And that makes sense because state agencies, they have local knowledge, they have resources. It can be a much more coordinated approach.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And these agreements can be made with or without the feds giving reimbursement. So there's flexibility there.
Okay, I see.
The regulation even mentions that agreements with states, they'll follow a similar model to those under the Walsh-Healy Public Contracts Act.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reference there, 41 CFR Part 5205. So there's a precedent.
Right, a framework already exists for this kind of cooperation.
Exactly. And, for all the safety professionals listening, this is crucial to understand. It helps you prep for inspections. You know who might be coming, what their authority is. It's all about navigating the regulatory landscape more effectively.
And ultimately creating a safer environment for everyone.
Right. So the takeaway here is that the Secretary of Labor has this legally defined right to go onto these work sites, specifically ones with federal contracts.
Right.
And they're there for safety and health inspections. And they can use help from other agencies to do it.
That's a lot to think about. Mm-hmm. And for those listening, I'd ask, how does this rate of entry and this idea of federal and state oversight, how does it change your approach to safety proactively? I mean, what can you do in your organization to not just comply, but really build a culture of safety? One that sees this kind of oversight as a positive thing, something that helps everyone improve.
That's an excellent point. Really something to consider. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Brought to you by Safety One Source. We're all about giving safety professionals like you the knowledge you need. We hope this has been helpful.
I think it has.
In understanding these, important but sometimes complex regulations.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for listening.